First, you find a prospect, and who knows how you find a prospect? Sometimes you meet them at an event. S- Sometimes they'll download a white paper that you've put on your website. Um, Sometimes they'll actually respond to your marketing, or they'll be introduced to your product or your company. So find a prospect. The prospect goes in the top of what's called a sales funnel, right? Sales funnel at the very top. You put the prospects in, and eventually, hopefully, at the other end, you get a customer. But it's sort of a lengthy process, and it's a very interesting process. And we're going to talk about that. Um, Solution partners actually have to discover, and discovery is a process also known as scoping, because you'll get somebody on the phone with one of these prospects, and sometimes it's some email contact beforehand, and then you go to some what are called qualifying questions, right? Which is figure out what the problem is, what the issue is, what kind of product they're using now to fix the issue, if there's going to be a replacement, how important it is, who's in charge of this. So the person on the phone at the partner, the solution partner, will do this early phase of discovery, which is called qualification. And they'll qualify the lead. They'll find out who actually has buying authority at this potential customer, who has a monetary budget, right? Who can actually spend dough, who can sign the check. Because if you don't find that out, you really don't have a potential customer. All you've got is an interested party. So after you've figured out all that stuff, that qualification process, you, as the first person on the phone with the prospect, will hand it off typically to a more senior account manager, right? And the account manager, the account executive. And by the way, all of these solution partners call these roles different names. So don't get stuck on the title. They all have different titles for the same stuff. Okay. So then the account manager or account executive will take it to the next step, which is really an exploration of what the issue is, what the problem is. And at that point, once they figure out what the real problem is, then they start bringing in the right people from both sides, right? Part of discovery is making sure you have the right people at the table. And by the way, that might be a physical table, but these days it's a virtual table. It's all Zoom or Google Meet or God forbid, Microsoft Teams. Not my favorite. Anyhow, so they bring in the right people on both sides. So that means they bring in several consultants that work for the solution partner. They bring in maybe even a project manager from the solution partner, maybe even a delivery manager, and they start bringing in the right people to address this issue. So if it's an ITSM issue, well, they bring in senior consultants from the solution partner side that have done this stuff, right? They've worked with JSM, they've worked with the various marketplace add-ons, right? Marketplace apps. So they know this stuff, and they'll get on the prospect side, they'll get a bunch of people who actually know this stuff. So the people they're intimately associated with the problem, and maybe even people that are affected by the problem, and they'll make sure they get those people in. And if they don't, then frankly, as they move through it, there's going to be holes in this. So they actually have to really concentrate. They have to focus on getting the right folks on both sides of the table. And it's sort of I don't know if it's a science or an art, but it's a process. Then together, everybody around the table starts to figure out a solution to the problem. And maybe again, with this ITSM thing, maybe it's JSM, who knows? But they figure out a solution. And then the people on the solution partner side start to present the solution. Here's how we fixed this problem in the past for other customers. Here's our references. Here's the companies we've done this for, the organizations we've done this for in the past. And by the way, most solution partners have a standardized discovery process, which they charge for. Sometimes it's 2 or 3 days. And this is real work. You've got, honest to goodness, highly paid consultants being brought in so that they can figure out what the real problem is and what the solution is. And based on their experience and their certifications, they get to what that solution is.